Now, February tends to be a very interesting month at the box office. The thing is, it's not like January, that's the beginning of the year, and you have a lot of the fall films from the previous year earning most of the money. And now you start to see a lot of films that often surprise you at times, such as the Lego Movie. The Lego Movie came out on February 7th, 2014, and it made a lot of money. It opened to $69 million, and it currently has 364 million worldwide, 229 of which is from the US alone. Now, the thing is, if you take a look at the way Frozen made its money, the thing is, it's reached $1 billion now, which is big news, of course, but the Lego Movie, just like Frozen, started off at around this much, but I think the positive word of mouth, the stellar reviews that the Lego Movie has received will certainly promote the box office and make it perform well in the long run. I think the Lego Movie could definitely end up reaching the $500 million mark worldwide. It's a tough call, but it's definitely going to cross 400 million, which is the very reason that a sequel has already been announced. That weekend, we also had The Monuments Men, which opened to number 2 as compared to the Lego Movie with $22 million, a budget of $70 million. It's made 117 worldwide. Now, it was supposed to be released last fall, but unfortunately that didn't happen. I think if it were released last fall, it would have probably earned a little more money. It hasn't had the best word of mouth exactly, but nonetheless, it's amongst the highest grossing films of the year, although it might not be such a large amount relative to its budget. The following week, we had Robocop, a $100 million budget. Even if you add about 30 to 40 million with marketing, it's made 220 million. It's got profits, which is a good thing. Domestically, though, it's made 55 million, which is around the same amount that the original RoboCop film made when it was released in 1987. So its domestic performance has not exactly been as high as some might have expected. It'll end up closing out at probably over 250 million worldwide. I don't know if that means there'll be a sequel to this, but the reboot has certainly earned a certain amount of profit for the studio. That weekend also, which was the Valentine's Day weekend, mind you, we had About Last Night, a Kevin Hart comedy. Kevin Hart's really starting to become a big box office draw, and this film has made $47 million relative to a $12.5 million budget. It's a great gross, and I think that it's definitely going to close out at above $50 million. Following that weekend, we had Pompei. Pompei opened to $10 million below the Lego Movie, and here's the thing, the word of mouth didn't exactly promote the film all that much, which is unfortunate, and it's directed by the same director as the Resident Evil films, and I mean the Resident Evil films have grossed far more than this. The thing is, this has a budget of $100 million. It's made 78 million worldwide. I think it could end up breaking even by the end of its run, but I don't suspect it will get a huge chunk of a profit. The following week, which is the final week of February 28th actually, you had NonStop starring Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson, with the Taken films and everything, has really become your quintessential action star, at least from a box office perspective. NonStop had a $50 million budget. Domestically, it's grossed $58 million, but the foreign territories, it's only made $20 million so far. It will end up making more money by the time it continues. It's been out for just a few weeks. It will definitely cross the $100 million mark, though I would have expected to see it cross about the $150 million mark as well. And finally, we have Son of God. Now, Son of God doesn't exactly have much of a production budget, simply because of the fact that there was a mini series called The Bible, which had all of what you see in the film, and they just edited the parts that featured Jesus in it and kind of put it on screen. So in that sense, it's pretty much the smartest thing they could have done because it didn't cost them any extra money to make. They just had to edit it and market it a little bit. It's made $45 million. It had an opening weekend of $20 million. It's definitely going to cross the $50 million mark. So in that sense, I think that the studio made a great decision in terms of doing that. Otherwise, I mean, there hasn't been so much from a box office perspective. Frozen crossed $1 billion, which was amazing. It is now the 18th film to do so, and I look forward to seeing the box office performance for the month of March.